Um, Thanks for having me. So on my end, I would like to offer some perspectives from sociology. So let me share my screen with the slides. Cool.
Thanks.
So perspective from sociology, and then starting with myself in the sense that an observation I had is whenever I open the explore section on Instagram, well, I don't really feel like a man. It's I don't even feel like a valid human being, this to say, and this despite spending weeks curating my feed, trying to um, uh, uh, select who do I follow, who do I want to mute. I always see the same thing. It's always muscular men driving fast and expensive cars, going on a holiday to Dubai, and spending a lot of time in the gym. And even if I know all the theory and the why and the how, my subconscious is still asking me, um, just like, have I failed my life somehow? And fortunately, well, we have lots of research that has demonstrated how social media negatively impacts our mental health because of its environment of comparison, its environment of competition. It's basically like a live 30 under 30, 30 under 30. Um, and
William, your slides have disappeared for us, and we also don't see your video.
okay, this is really sorry, contact. What do I need to share? Why does it not doesn't allow me? Okay,
Yes, we have the slides
back to the
again.
slides then. So,
Thank
yeah. Long story short, yes. So can we imagine then what happens to people who come from marginalized parts of the society because of their race, their class, their gender, their faith, their belief? Um, So I wanted to focus on British Muslims born around like my generation, so born around '86, and so people coming from various and different cultural villages, professional backgrounds, different understandings of the religion and social issues, and all social media users, and some of them using it as their main source of income. And a few things struck me that I would like to share with you. First is the power they confer to the algorithms. Second is the questions they ask. Why are they so biased towards dominant cultural norms? And eventually, like the case where these algorithms can be used as a tools for social control. So I would like to start with a first case study. One of my respondents, a single mother of two, she's a businesswoman, and her survival depends on occasional collaboration she can make with high street brands, and she's got only 80K followers. So she says to me, I take pictures of my food and I don't finish it. I take pictures of what I do every day. If I don't do it, I lose followers. I wish I didn't have to do it, but these figures give me some credibility for people who could work with me. So she is caught in a loop for chasing likes and followers because her business depends less on the quality of her work than her digital performance. And a lot of people similarly take Instagram as a gauge for their self-worth. They ask themselves why, despite years of hard work, I don't become more popular. And because nobody really knows how these algorithms work and nobody has access to the code, they have become some kind of mysterious entities, invisible, indecipherable, but omniscient and powerful with this ability to judge who deserves to be popular, who deserves to be forgotten. De facto, they have become some kind of deities. And let's pay attention to the vocabulary people use when they say someone has ascended to virality. They have been blessed by the algorithm. So we rely on them to feed, to find work, to find love, even to survive. And as per the famous artist Abbas Zahedi says, they have become the algorithm. And talking about Muslims in the UK, the reliance on social media comes mainly from a situation of deprivation, from financial stability, visibility, political representation, and Instagram feels a comfortable void because it sells people a theology of liberation. Like it says that you can escape your condition, you can transcend the barriers of gender, class, and race if you perform well. It is a form of digital Darwinism, the survival of the famous. So not only they become gods, but they also get to elect their specific demigods. So my respondents often ask me, like, why do we only see Muslims who are only fair-skinned, tall, slim, with straight hair, or like hyper-masculine men? Why are there no poor Muslims? Why no black Muslims? Why are there no normal people on the Explore page in Instagram? So since 2015, like Google controversy, the 2016 UK Home Office, so we know that uh, algorithms often exhibit racial biases. But more than that, it's also people abiding to very similar standards. So commenters have been prompt at observing how so many women look like clones of Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner, or more recently, the Vogue challenge in 2020. So we would see young women of color editing pictures of themselves on fake cover of the magazine Vogue, but replicating the very same display of wealth and lascivious poses as is in 19th century Orientalist paintings. So yes, you get to see people of color, but again, through a very specific lens. So my respondents tell me like how, in order to fit in, they had to change the way they look, they speak, or behave. Some have been using plastic surgery to abide by these standards. And it's just like in the movie Fight Club. Everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. But then again, these are aesthetics. There are cases when trends perpetuate oppression. So one of my respondents of South Asian descent, whose main income comes from YouTube, told me that he purposely avoids featuring black people in his videos because he says this is not what his audience wants. Black people don't sell, he tells me. And we have come to a point where I was just following the trend has become the new I was just following orders. Can you think about this? So in this world of Instagram, which seems all perfect with no poverty, no racism, while in practice people have to tick very specific boxes, the problem is it's not only about success, it's about real life job opportunities conditioned by these standards. And this is what led psychologist Hussein Boulan to coin the term metacolonialism. So as Mark Zuckerberg offers us the metaverse, so here we have metacolonialism. Yes, the empires of the past are no more, but still people from minorities are not forced but strongly suggested to modify their appearances, the way they speak and behave in order to exist as valid citizens. And this at the cost of their unique culture, heritage, faith, and identities. Like changing your accent if you come from the north of England and you want to work in the south. It is, in terms of psychology, a form of gaslighting when the manipulator gets people to doubt of their own reality, their existence, their morals and ethics. So we have several cases where, for example, in 2020, also we have this confirmation of political views when in 2020 Facebook admitted censoring Sikh organizations criticizing the Indian government, or the company Dataminder has been used to monitor Black Lives Matter protests with the help of Twitter, or the counter-extremism think tank ISD used Facebook Messenger to intervene in private conversations with subjects suspected to be at risk of extremism, or what happened more recently with the 2021 situation in Palestine. So these are all fundamental questions about not only data privacy, data security, but about freedom of expression, of protest, of dissent, well, just of being, because we are sliding in the territory of social engineering. So as a conclusion, yes, algorithms are curators of a culture-specific adult society with its hierarchies, its myths, its demigods. They're able to change core beliefs at individual and collective levels. But maybe, like in a Greek tragedy, we are maybe about to suffer the consequences of the darker sides of human psyche if we don't pay attention. We're talking about climate refugees, so maybe soon we'll be talking about AI refugees. So people have posited different solutions, like for example, beyond diverse data sets and designer teams, or like relocating teams in non-Western countries. We may want to think about the intentions of creating AI. Can we think about a non-commercial and non-security driven AI, or a self-critical system able to recognize power imbalances, or even further, a compassionate or benevolent system, or from a more spiritual perspective, an AI without an ego and free from man-made supremacies. But that would imply that beyond developers, economic and security analysts, and experts in human conditions, we need historians, anthropologists, artists, sociologists, and people from the margin, like community organizer, to be able to somehow parent the AI we're giving birth to. I'm done with my presentation, and thank you so much for your attention. Over to you, Shakir.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, William. We are running a little bit over time. I wondered if you could just, at the end, just linger a little bit in that final slide. The role of coloniality and the meta-colonialism that we're seeing, especially for Muslim communities around the world. You have so many examples, not just of algorithms through their filtering or recommendation systems. You see it in the role of language generation and prediction tools that are also censoring the kind of language and mode of expression. If you could just linger a little bit of any thoughts you have on those tools, abolitionist tools for Muslim communities that may be needed, that we could instead develop, that are a different way of pushing forward exactly the kind of vital questions you're asking. Still muted. Muted.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So yeah, I think people have imagined like many different solutions, but one thing that looms is the inevitably of a sort like a monopoly of what already exists. But then, like, how do we resist? How do we cope? How is it possible to heal from the damages made by these systems? So some people would advocate just like quitting and you know, kind of going on an exile away from AI in the form of like the scholar Said Mustafa Ali thinks about decolonial Luddism, you know, like just like withdrawing from the dominant forms of power. Some other think of building parallel alternative systems from scratch to as a counterweight this, to say, as we see now, like when it comes to politics and society, we have always the dominant groups, and you also have people at the margins who find their own ways to heal and to flourish and to exist with their own terms.